Alright, for today's video, we're going to make this holster here. It has two straps that goes around your legs. It has this strap for your belt, and this other one that just goes across and helps hold the firearm in place. I always thought this was a really cool and interesting holster idea. Part of what holds it in place is this hole here where the barrel goes through and actually sticks out. And this here. And of course the final point of contact that holds it is the strap that goes over it. Yeah, overall a pretty cool design. And it's interesting too, this is an interesting holster design where I think it could be adapted to any number of just strange shaped sci-fi guns in some manner or form, where it's not a complete holster that has to cover the whole gun, but just something that holds it in place and then a strap. So yeah, overall I thought this was a really cool movie prop, and I really wanted to recreate it for my Judge Dredd costume, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video and gives you some ideas and inspires you, and let's get into it. Alright, so first thing you're going to want to do is have a Lawgiver. Second thing is you're going to want to sit this on here with enough space at the top and the edges for the width of some 5mm EVA foam. Then you're going to basically trace the outline of the piece. And as you'll notice, it angles up here. That's because the top piece is going to stop there. You see, I've already cut mine out. And next what you're going to do is take a piece of EVA foam, I have the scrap one here, and line it up as best you can with the bottom one, and apply some pressure to it. Not too much, but a decent amount. Okay? And what you're going to have then is this line, faint but there, which you're going to use to draw the basic outline of the top piece. Next, I traced along the line that I made here with the impression, and the second line here is the actual shape of the holster that I'm going to cut out, and it's going to look something like this right here. And you can see this matches up with the bottom piece. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is take a ruler, and if you have to, have somebody help you, and you're going to need to measure the space in between these two pieces. Once you figure out how wide that is, go ahead and cut out a length of it. Here I have a strip that I cut out, and next I'm going to go ahead and put this in between these two and press down on the barrel here to get an impression of the barrel. Once I get an impression of the barrel, I'm going to cut that out so that it looks like this. And this is going to get glued with contact cement in between these two. But first I'm going to glue this side to the bottom part. So before I even attempt to glue this side to here, I went, as you can see, I used a heat gun and lightly heated this and just worked it with my fingers into this basic shape. It'll make it easier at the end of the day to go ahead and glue this down. Okay, now that this is all glued on, you're going to want to do the top piece next, and for that I cut a length that fit this, same thickness as this, and I already used the heat gun to put some space in it to allow for these two sight pieces that are on top of the Lawgiver. You can avoid this step by just giving yourself a little extra room, but I wanted to have that shape. So I used the heat gun and got it a little warm, and then just pressed it in with my thumbnail until I got a decent shape that I wanted. And next, I'm going to contact cement this piece in here. Alright, now that everything is together and fits, I've already gone ahead and prepped both these sides with contact cements. You can see this one here as well. And once these are set and dry, in about 10 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and stick them together. Here it is with both pieces glued together, and it fits nice and snug inside of it. Put that off to the side. And the other thing I did was I took some super glue and just ran it along ran a bead along all these seams. And then I used an old paintbrush that was basically junk to spread it out. But you could also use a scrap piece of EVA foam if you want to do that to seal your joints. The contact cement does work really well, but sometimes it just starts to come apart. So to avoid that happening, I went ahead and put an extra layer of glue on it. Alright, next I'm taking a couple strips of EVA foam and a hot glue gun. And I used the hot glue gun to glue them into the corners here to help hold this straight and rigid. You're going to end up eventually having a strap that comes kind of at an angle across here. So You're going to need this a little bit more sturdy than just the contact cemented UVA foam. Next, I'm going to take another strip of UVA foam and some super glue. And I took that and I used a super glue to glue it inside here. And I put a little bead of hot glue along the edge just to help seal it up. And that serves the purpose of making sure that this side here stays nice and tight. That's why I glued that in there. Now if you look at the other side, there's some gaps here. There's some gaps down here and up here. So I'm going to have to put a couple more strips in, just like I did with the other ones, so that it's nice and set in there. Now, one of the final things that I'm going to do before I go ahead and seal this up is I'm going to take some rough grit sandpaper and I'm going to sand down all the seams real good and try to even them out as much as possible. And then we can move on to sealing it with some plasti dip. Alright, now I'm going to take some plasti dip, and you don't need to worry about the bottom. That's the part that's going to be up against your hips. And we also have some stuff to glue on there. First we need to seal and texture this. And I'm going to use plasti dip to do it. And what I do is I just kind of spray on, not a solid coat, but you can see there's a lot of little beads. It's going to give it a nice texture. Now it's going to take probably 3-4 layers like this till you build up a nice speckled texture. But the reference photo I was looking at had what looks like your usual military grade plastic, and it has that rough texture on the outside of the holster. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that process probably 3-4 times, letting it dry about a half hour to an hour in between coats. Alright, after 3-4 coats, it's got a pretty decent looking texture. And of course the backside here is still brown. And I'm not going to paint that or worry about that because I have a scrap piece of 3mm black EVA craft foam. Now, I knew I had this, so that's probably the reason why I didn't paint it. But this serves two purposes. It's not just to cover up the brown. It also serves the purpose of helping to reinforce this backside, because this part here is still a little weak and flimsy. It's just one layer of EVA foam. And to make sure this stiffens up real good, I'm going to use super glue. Alright, it's good and covered. And go ahead and place it on the 3mm EVA foam. I'm going to apply pressure to this for about 30 seconds. Okay, now this is fully glued on. I'm just going to take some scissors. Very careful, even cuts. I'm going to remove all the excess. And there we go. And the nice thing about this EVA foam is it's clean. There's no crud or plasti dip or any overspray or anything on it, which gives us a nice clean surface to glue straps to. Okay, I'm pretty sure on the movie set holster they use nylon strapping, but I got this belt. It's actually cotton. But yeah, I got this belt at the thrift store for 99 cents. It also has these couple cool looking buckle things that, I mean, probably going to try to incorporate that into here somehow. But I took a piece of shoestring and I just wrapped it around my thigh and cut it to the length here and here, and made sure I had a little bit extra here to overlap because I'm going to use Velcro to actually attach these. And since it's cotton, the ends immediately started to fray. Now I fixed this by just putting some hot glue right across the end where I cut on all the areas that I cut. Alright, I glued the top strap on, and I glued that on by using some super glue and glued it on, and then went around it with some hot glue. And I just kind of smashed and covered this metal thing so you'll see it on the front of the holster. Make it look a little bit more legit. I'm going to go ahead and glue on the bottom strap. Alright, I have both of these glued on now, and I also went ahead and took some Velcro and glued to these so that I can go ahead and attach them together, and then I can go ahead and put it around my leg. So it's like this on my leg. Okay, I ended up gluing on 2 more straps, and this first strap here I glued to the back, put a piece of the soft stuff for the Velcro here, and this strap comes over and closes. And I actually had a piece of nylon strap to use for this, which is pretty cool. And I put this dot of hot glue here because there's supposed to be like a button snap, but I don't have that. And the next strap that I put on here, I glued underneath, and it's just a piece of pleather I had lying around. I'm going to put some Velcro on it, and ultimately this is going to go over my belt. Next, I'm taking a brush and some black craft paint, and I'm going to start painting like this thing here, and pretty much any area where maybe some glue dribbled over or leaked out. And you can see it very noticeably. I'm going to paint it black so that it will blend in. Alright, now that everything is painted up, I think that's pretty much it. The only thing left to do is to try it on. Alright, so here it is in its entirety. I got the belt loop, the straps to go around my legs, and of course the actual button that have Velcro. Yeah, all in all, I am pretty stoked on how this turned out. And it's slowly advancing along my Judge Dredd costume. And I'm going to do some other things next as well. But hopefully this video was entertaining and learned something or gave you some new ideas on how to make holsters. And as always, thanks for watching.